I thought hiring a personal trainer would change my life for the better. I never imagined it would nearly end it. What started as innocent fitness goals became a nightmare that I'm still recovering from today. This is my story. Before I tell you what happened to me, please subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss how the story unfolds, and maybe it'll help you recognize the warning signs I wish I had seen. 6 months ago, I was your typical 28-year-old office worker. I spent most of my days hunched over a computer, surviving on coffee and takeout. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself anymore. I'd gained 30 pounds since college, and my confidence was at an all-time low. That's when I decided to join FitZone Gym downtown. I'd driven past it countless times, always telling myself someday. Well, someday finally came when my doctor warned me about my rising blood pressure during my annual checkup. I remember walking into that gym for the first time. The smell of rubber mats and disinfectant, the sound of weights clanking, the intimidating sight of all those fit people who seemed to know exactly what they were doing. I felt completely lost. That's when I met Marcus. Marcus Rivera was everything you'd picture in a personal trainer, tall, muscular, with that perfect smile that made you feel like you could conquer the world. He worked the front desk part-time while building his client base, and he had this way of making everyone feel welcome. First time here, he asked when he saw me standing there, probably looking terrified. "Is it that obvious?" I laughed nervously. "Everyone starts somewhere," he said, extending his hand. "I'm Marcus. What are your goals?" I explained that I wanted to lose weight and get healthy. Marcus listened intently, nodding at all the right moments. He told me about his training packages, and while they were expensive, something about his enthusiasm made me believe it would be worth it. "I'll take care of you, Sarah," he said, looking directly into my eyes. "We're going to transform your life." Looking back, I should have noticed how intense that stare was. But at the time, I just felt grateful that someone believed in me. The first month was incredible. Marcus designed a comprehensive program for me: strength training, cardio, nutrition planning. He was professional, knowledgeable, and genuinely seemed to care about my progress. We trained 3 times a week, and I started seeing results almost immediately. I was stronger, had more energy, and for the first time in years, I actually enjoyed working out. Marcus celebrated every small victory with me: when I finally did a full push-up, when I lost my first 5 pounds, when I deadlifted my body weight. "You're amazing, Sarah," he'd say. "Most people give up, but you're different. You're special." I ate up the compliments. After years of feeling invisible and unsuccessful, having someone see potential in me was intoxicating. Marcus made me feel like I was the most important person in his world during our sessions. But then things started to change, so gradually that I almost didn't notice at first. It began with small boundary crossings. Marcus started texting me outside of our scheduled sessions. At first, just motivational messages or nutrition tips. Then the texts became more frequent and personal. "Good morning, beautiful. Ready to crush today," he'd message at 6 a.m. "Thinking about your progress. You're doing so well. Sweet dreams," would come at 11 p.m. When I mentioned that the constant texting was a bit much, Marcus got defensive. "I'm just trying to keep you motivated," he said. "Most trainers don't care this much about their clients. I thought you appreciated the extra attention." I felt guilty for complaining. Maybe I was being ungrateful. He was right. He was going above and beyond for me. Then came the comments about my personal life. During rest periods between sets, Marcus would ask increasingly invasive questions. Did I have a boyfriend? What did I do on weekends? Who did I hang out with? "You know, Sarah," he said one day while I was doing squats, "you're getting so fit and confident. I bet guys are starting to notice you more. You need to be careful. Not everyone has good intentions like I do." Something about the way he said it made my skin crawl, but I brushed off the feeling. By month 2, Marcus's behavior became impossible to ignore. He started showing up at the gym on days when we didn't have sessions, always finding reasons to interrupt my workouts. "I was just checking your form," he'd say when he'd appear beside me while I was on the treadmill. He began making comments about other men at the gym, warning me to stay away from them. "That guy over there has been staring at you," Marcus would whisper during our sessions. "Guys like him only want one thing. You're too pure for that." The word pure made me uncomfortable. I wasn't a child, and I certainly wasn't his to protect. Then came the day that changed everything. I was running late for our session due to a work meeting, and when I arrived, Marcus was furious. "Where were you?" he demanded, his voice loud enough that other gym members turned to look. "I texted you that I was running late," I said, confused by his reaction. 25 minutes, Sarah. I was worried sick. I thought something had happened to you. I even called the gym's front desk to see if you'd canceled. The intensity in his eyes scared me. This wasn't concern, this was something else entirely. "Marcus, I'm paying you for these sessions. Sometimes life happens, and I might be late. That's normal." His expression darkened. "Normal clients don't matter to me the way you do, Sarah. What we have is special. I thought you understood that." I decided I needed to end our training relationship. The situation had become too uncomfortable, and I was starting to dread going to the gym. But when I tried to tell Marcus, he didn't take it well. "You can't just quit," he said, blocking my path to the exit. "We have a contract. Besides, look at your progress. You need me. Marcus, I appreciate everything you've done, but I think it's time for me to work out on my own." His face went through a series of emotions, confusion, hurt, then anger. "It's another guy, isn't it?" he accused. "Someone's been filling your head with lies about me." "Who is it?" "That guy from the free weights section. I knew he was trouble." "There's no other guy, Marcus. I just need some space." That's when he grabbed my arm, not hard enough to bruise, but firm enough to make his point. "Sarah, you don't understand. I've invested everything in you. My time, my energy, my feelings. You can't just walk away from that." I pulled my arm free and walked out, my heart pounding. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. The harassment started immediately. Marcus began texting me constantly, dozens of messages per day ranging from pleading to angry to manipulative. "I'm sorry for grabbing you. I was just passionate about your success. You're making a huge mistake. No one will ever care about you like I do. I drive by your apartment sometimes, just to make sure you're safe." That last message terrified me. I had never given Marcus my home address. I blocked his number, but he created new accounts and continued messaging me through social media, email, even professional networking sites. He found ways to contact me that I didn't even know existed. The messages became increasingly disturbing. "I saw you at the coffee shop on 5th Street yesterday. You looked sad. You need me. Your new workout routine is terrible. I watched you through the gym window. We're meant to be together, Sarah. Why can't you see that?" I stopped going to Fit's own gym entirely, but that didn't stop Marcus. He began showing up at places I frequented, my favorite restaurant, the grocery store, even outside my office building. I was living in constant fear, always looking over my shoulder, changing my routines to try to avoid him. The confident, strong person I had been becoming was disappearing, replaced by someone who was scared to leave her own home. Finally, my best friend Jessica convinced me to go to the police. I had documented everything, screenshots of messages, photos of Marcus lurking outside my building, testimony from coworkers who had seen him following me. Detective Rodriguez took my case seriously, thank God. She explained that what Marcus was doing constituted stalking and harassment, and that his behavior would likely escalate if left unchecked. "These situations don't typically resolve themselves," she warned me. "Men like this often see rejection as a challenge, not an ending." The police contacted Marcus and issued a formal warning. For a few days, I thought it had worked. The messages stopped, and I didn't see him anywhere. But Marcus was just changing tactics. 3 weeks later, I was leaving work late one evening when I found Marcus waiting by my car in the parking garage. My blood ran cold when I saw him standing there in the shadows. "Sarah," he said, stepping into the light. He looked disheveled, like he hadn't been sleeping. "We need to talk." "Marcus, you're violating the restraining order. I'm calling the police." "Please," he said, his voice breaking. "Just 5 minutes. I need to explain everything. I need you to understand how much you mean to me." I could see that he was falling apart, but that somehow made him more dangerous, not less. Desperate people do desperate things. "I've been thinking about us constantly," he continued, moving closer. "About what we had. You can't tell me you didn't feel it too, that connection during our sessions. Marcus, What we had was a professional relationship. I paid you to train me. That's all it was. No, he shouted, causing me to jump. It was more than that. It was fate. I was meant to save you, to transform you, to love you. I realized then that in Marcus's mind, he had created an entire relationship that existed only in his imagination. He genuinely believed that we had something romantic, that I was just confused or being influenced by others. That's when I saw the knife. Marcus pulled out a small knife and held it at his side, not threatening me directly, but making sure I could see it. If I can't have you, Sarah, then I don't want to live anymore. And I can't bear the thought of you being with someone else. This was it, the moment every woman fears. I was trapped in an underground garage with someone who had completely lost touch with reality. Marcus, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, you're a good person. You helped me get healthy and strong. Don't throw your life away like this. You really think I'm good? He asked, and for a moment, his expression softened. Yes, I lied. But this isn't you. This isn't the Marcus who believed in me and encouraged me. While he was distracted by my words, I managed to press the panic button on my car keys. The alarm started blaring, echoing through the garage. Marcus was startled, and in that moment of confusion, I ran. I made it to the garage exit and flagged down a security guard just as police sirens filled the air. Someone else in the building had also called 911 when they heard the car alarm and shouting. Marcus was arrested that night and charged with stalking, harassment, and attempted assault. During his psychological evaluation, it came out that I wasn't his first victim. 2 other women had filed similar complaints about him at previous gyms, but they had moved away before pressing charges. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison and mandatory psychological treatment. I later learned that he had developed what psychologists call erotomania, a delusion that someone is in love with him, even when they've clearly expressed otherwise. The experience changed me profoundly. 4 months afterward, I struggled with anxiety and depression. I couldn't work out, couldn't trust people, couldn't even leave my house without looking over my shoulder. The confident person I had been becoming felt like a stranger. But with therapy and the support of friends and family, I slowly began to rebuild my life. I learned that what happened wasn't my fault, that there were no warning signs I should have caught, nothing I could have done differently to prevent Marcus's obsession. Today, I'm sharing my story because I want other women to know they're not alone. Stalking affects millions of people every year, and it can happen to anyone, anywhere. The confident, independent person you are isn't an invitation for someone to become obsessed with you. If someone is making you uncomfortable, trust that feeling. Set boundaries early and clearly. Document everything. And never hesitate to ask for help from friends, family, or law enforcement. I'm doing better now. I found a new gym with excellent security and female trainers. I'm stronger than ever, not just physically, but emotionally too. Marcus tried to take away my power, but ultimately, he only taught me how resilient I really am. If my story helps even one person recognize the warning signs or find the courage to get help, then sharing this painful experience will have been worth it. Thank you for listening, and remember, you deserve to feel safe always.